What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Courtside TV. This is our second episode of preseason baseball analysis with Logan, Jackson, and myself. And this episode, we're going to be talking about big name free agents or people who have yet to sign in the MLB. And I made that distinction so that we can specifically talk about Kyler Murray, the two-sport athlete out of Oklahoma, obviously Heisman winner, and just a great athlete all around. And he is trying to make a decision between going to the NFL and MLB. And he has confirmed that he will be taking part in the NFL Combine. So that kind of takes away from his likelihood of going to baseball, personally, I think, because I don't know what the exact rule is or the stipulations, but there's a rule that Kyler Murray now cannot receive a major league contract, but just a minor league contract. I think that's how I read it. But he is trying to get the MLB Players Association to get him a rule personally that will allow him to receive that major league contract since he was taken 6th overall in the draft. And if he does end up getting that rule, whatever team drafts him in the ML or in the NFL rather, he's going to go straight to them and say, pay me more or give me a reason that I should be here instead of getting paid to play in the MLB. So personally, I think that's going to be hard for the Athletics to get him, especially since they're a small market team. If it was someone like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, they could pay him whatever they needed to. But Oakland doesn't have that type of money to just throw at someone they don't know is going to pan out or not. So personally, unfortunately, I'd love to see him in the MLB. He's electric and adding to that market value for the MLB. I mean, imagine your branding being Francisco Lindor, Javi Baez, and Kyler Murray. That's drawing in college football fans, NFL fans. And personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go to the NFL because of the money issue and that rule. But Logan, get your opinion on this, or Jackson, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, man, he was a lot of fun to watch at Oklahoma. Obviously, being a big college football fan, I got to watch Kyler Murray a lot, and he had big shoes to fill. Coming in after, being behind Baker Mayfield the year before, and he had big shoes to fill, and he did that. And some people would argue that he might have done it a little better than Baker did, but they're both phenomenal quarterbacks. And now we see Baker kind of thriving in the NFL, even as a rookie. He had a really solid season with the Browns, and he looks very promising right now. So I personally want Kyler Murray to stick with football, and that's just because I watch football more than baseball. But I understand, if he played baseball, it would honestly make me want to watch baseball more. So I think that'd be a really good thing for the MLB because, like Connor said, that'd bring in college football fans and maybe some NFL fans too that wanted to see how Kyler Murray panned out in the MLB. But I also think, like we talked about in, I believe, a previous video, the marketing side of it as well. I think whichever route Kyler Murray takes, his name is going to be in the headlines for, at least a year or two to come, depending on how he pans out, because there's been so much controversy around this decision he's making. So I think either way, his name's going to be in the headlines. But also when it comes to the NFL, I feel like he's got a better chance in the NFL to really make a name for himself and stand out as, a top athlete, maybe in all sports, depending on how well he does. Just because in baseball, you've got you got your Bryce Harper, you got your Mike Trout and all that. But, Kyler Murray, I'm sure he's a great baseball player. I haven't watched any of his stuff. I'm sure he is. But, I feel like if he's a quarterback and he leads his team to the playoffs or something, that's going to be a lot more noticed and a lot more talked about on ESPN and by media than if he's on a baseball team and the team makes the playoffs. Because it's not like it wouldn't necessarily be Kyler Murray led the Oakland Athletics to the playoffs. It would, the A's would be in the playoffs and Kyler Murray would be on the team. So in the NFL, I feel like if he led a team to a playoffs like the Dolphins or the Raiders or something, then it'd be a lot more talked about and he'd have his name in headlines and be able to really make a name for himself in the league and potentially, start to become one of the greats. So that's how I feel about that. I think he'll stick with NFL.
Yeah, personally, I think he'll stick with the NFL as well because obviously the whole situation with the Oakland Athletics, but in the upcoming NFL draft, it's definitely a down year for quarterbacks. So I feel like he will definitely be one of the higher picks in this draft, with him and Dwayne Haskins being the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft. And yeah, like y'all are saying that if Kyler played in the MLB, then it would definitely bring more attention to the MLB. But at the same time, I'm going to read Kyler Murray's college stats. He hit 296 in 189 at bats with 56 strikeouts. I mean, hitting 296, like that doesn't really make you a top 10 draft pick. Obviously, Kyler Murray's speed got him that draft pick because the Oakland Athletics can possibly see him as a potential 5-tool player, because he hit for 10 home runs with 47 RBIs too. But I mean, I don't think the Oakland Athletics will give him the contract that he actually wants, because I mean, personally, if I was Billy Beane, the Oakland Athletics GM, I wouldn't give Kyler that big contract, because you have absolutely no idea if he's going to pan out to be the player that the A's want him to be, because he played Big 12 baseball and didn't even hit over 300. Like, what makes you think that he's gonna? I mean, yeah, he's a freak, like he's super athletic, but why do you guys, like, I'm not saying you guys, but like, what makes the Oakland Athletics think that he's gonna end up being a top prospect? And people are saying that it would make MLB more exciting to watch, but if he literally didn't even hit 300 in college, he'll probably be in the minor league system for a while till he gets up there. I mean, yeah, he's very fast. He has potential. He could definitely be like a pinch runner or something like that. But I mean, if he ended up taking the MLB route, it would definitely take him a minute to get up there, especially with the A's, how good they're playing too. So.
All right, moving on to the biggest name in baseball, you could argue, that we talked about multiple times in our MLB rules and just how to make it better video. Bryce Harper. Him and Manny are taking the JD Martinez approach and waiting until the last possible second before spring training to sign. Personally, I think Bryce Harper has 2 options of where to sign, but there is apparently a third emerging. The first one obviously being the Philadelphia Phillies. They're looking like the front runner for either Harper or Machado. They're going to get one of them, it looks like. The second would be the New York Yankees, unfortunately. I don't think the Yankees are going to get him, but they're always there to throw money at anyone, and rightfully so. I just think their outfield is personally too clustered. I mean, even though they did drop McCutchen, you already have Stanton in right field. And having 2 outfielders that play naturally the same position with over $200 million contracts is absolutely absurd. And the third team that has emerged is the San Francisco Giants. And apparently, according to the Giants owner, or I think it's the Giants owner, that Bryce Harper has reached out to the Giants to set up meetings and to talk to them about a contract. So obviously there's something drawing or trying to draw Bryce Harper out there. Whether he goes or not and they're willing to give him the same contract that someone like the Phillies are going to throw at him or the Yankees can throw at him, I'm not sure. I think Bryce Harper ends up in Philadelphia, but San Francisco is not looking like a bad spot for Bryce, especially since they lost Hunter Pence. They need a right fielder. It's a right field that would take time to get used to playing compared to Nationals Park, which is just like a regular right field. But if Bryce could get that 8-year deal that he wants in San Francisco, I think that could bring San Francisco back on the map of a playoff contender, even though the Dodgers are the obvious team in that division. But I think Bryce going to the Phillies is scary for the rest of the NL East, which is already a great division. And anywhere Bryce Harper goes, I feel like they could be a contender just because of that charisma that he brings to the team. So, Jackson, get your opinion on where you think Bryce Harper is going to land.
Yeah, probably what I'm about to say is probably going to make a little people confused or maybe upset, but I think Bryce Harper is not worth his money. I really don't think he's worth the $300 million that he is asking for. I mean, his 2018 stats, Buddy hit 249. I mean, granted, like, he was an MVP, he was a Rookie of the Year, he's a freak. Obviously, I'm a Braves fan. I would love Bryce Harper for him to sign with the Braves. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But I mean, I feel like whatever team he signs for, it's got to either be a team with a lot of money, like the Yankees, or I'm not saying the Red Sox, but or like the Dodgers, like a team like that to pay him, because I just feel like if a team like, I mean, the Giants have a lot of money, but if they get Bryce Harper, like they're literally going all in. Like they're just got to build around Bryce Harper because he's literally like, imagine Mike Trout next year when he enters free agency, how much money he's going to be worth. But Mike Trout is literally the LeBron James of the MLB. And I think that, I don't know, I think Bryce Harper, I think he'll end up, as much as I hate to say it, I think he'll end up signing with the Phillies because the Phillies recently got JT Realmuto with a trade with the Marlins, and adding Bryce Harper to that lineup kind of makes that lineup look pretty scary with JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, and Reese Hoskins up in the middle of that lineup. But I mean, if he signed with the Giants, yeah, that would definitely be huge for the Giants with him and like Evan Longoria, guys like that. But I mean, does that really make the Giants like a true contender though? Because I know Bryce Harper wants to win because he was with the Nationals. The Nationals were good, but the Nationals never really made that next step to get to a championship. And so obviously he's not with the Nationals anymore. And I think Bryce Harper really wants to win. That's why he wants a huge contract, and he just wants a World Series ring. And I don't think the Giants will get him that. And I think the Phillies have the best shot. As much as I hate to say it, because I'm a Braves fan, and yeah, I just think Bryce Harper will go to the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same route. I think he's gonna go to the Phillies. And Jackson talked about the Phillies lineup looking scary. I mean, and also, we didn't mention yet Andrew McCutchen too. So, the Phillies, I feel like now, I mean, Andrew McCutchen trading for Real Muto, and then it just feels like Bryce Harper's that last piece. He's like the third big guy they're going to get this offseason. And look at that standings last year. I mean, the Phillies they were obviously 10 games out of first. They finished third in the NL East, and they're only 2 games behind the Nationals for second. So I feel like even as of right now, even if Harper doesn't go to the Phillies, I still think the Phillies will be second behind the Braves this year. But if Bryce Harper goes, I think it's gonna be a really tight race in the NL East for between the Braves and the Phillies, and potentially both of them making the playoffs, depending on how the rest of the NL shakes out. But yeah, I think he'll go to the Phillies just because they've already picked up a couple pieces, and Phillies are a team. I mean, like Connor talked about, the Yankees kind of already they got some stars already and kind of a crowded situation there. And I feel like the Phillies are just they need a big star like that. And yeah, so I'm gonna say Phillies as well.
Okay, moving on to the next player on the list, Manny Machado. Personally, hope he never plays baseball again. Never want to see him on an MLB field. You want to talk about disgracing the game? That is Manny Machado. Hope he goes to Japan. But in all reality, Phillies are up there if they don't get Bryce. That's been the team that's ready to throw money at both of them, it seems like. I don't personally think he's going to re-sign with the Dodgers. They have Corey Seager coming back from injury. They don't have a need at shortstop. He doesn't want to play third base. Plus, they have Justin Turner there. San Diego, the Padres, are a team that is making a heavy run at Machado. And San Diego is looking like a sneaky good team this year. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up their roster right now. I should have had this up before. But a team that they weren't great last year, but at the same time, the players that they've picked up this year, or this offseason rather, their starting lineup is going to be at first base, Eric Hosmer, at second base, Ian Kinsler. I'm not sure who plays third base for them, but then if you add Manny Machado at shortstop with Will Myers.
Yeah. Well, the depth chart I'm looking at right now said Will Myers will play third. So.
Okay. Then Will Myers at either third or outfield. It's listed on outfield here. Hunter Renfroe. And then you have a decent pitching staff. Adding someone with a bat like Machado has and that great fielding glove it could make the Padres over if they could get that one more piece, like maybe a star pitcher that could put them into the playoff race. And I think that's honestly really intriguing for Machado because he's not too old. He has time to say, okay, if he wants to be the face of a franchise, he could go to the Padres and be that Mike Trout of the Angels or how Bryce Harper was with the Nationals. He could be the guy for the Padres because he was the guy on the Orioles, but he shared that spotlight with Chris Davis. He wasn't the guy on the Dodgers because he came in for a year and there were already big names there. But going to the Padres, I think, is the smartest move for Manny Machado. Obviously, if Bryce Harper goes to the Phillies, that is, I mean, he could pick between Phillies and Padres if Bryce doesn't go there. I think the Yankees are obviously in the running for him, but I don't really see them going with Machado because they have Didi Gregorius at shortstop, and they don't want to mess up if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I really want to see him go to the Padres to see how that shapes up. They're going to be sneaky good this year, no matter what, I think. But Jackson, where do you think Machado ends up?
I think Manny Machado will end up with the Chicago White Sox. And I say this because I know that he's met with the White Sox early January, if I'm not mistaken. And he has a pretty good relationship with Yonder Alonso, who's his brother-in-law, who recently signed with the White Sox in the offseason as a designated hitter. And I know and the White Sox want to get that feel for him just to be comfortable if he signs with the White Sox. So at least he has a familiar face to play with if he signs with the White Sox. But if you look at the White Sox roster, I mean, they got Tim Anderson at shortstop right now. And I know Manny Machado wants to play shortstop and not third base. And Tim Anderson, Manny Machado, I mean, pick your poison here. I'd rather have Manny Machado on my team. And I mean, in the White Sox, they have one of the top they have one of the top farm systems in the entire MLB. And they have Yohan Moncada at second base, who could potentially be a star, who was one of the top prospects a couple years ago. And I mean, and they have outstanding pitching prospects all across the board. For example,
Also, Jose Abreu.
Yeah, I was getting there. Jose Abreu, and they got this pitching prospect, Michael Kopech, if I'm saying that right. He literally sits like 99 to 100 miles an hour, but I think he's coming off an injury right now. But I'm not saying next year or the year after that, but I think if Manny signs a big deal with the White Sox around 2021, 2022, the White Sox will be a very scary team, as they have a lot of young talent. And I feel like if he signs with the White Sox, and they'll want to build their franchise around him and potentially make a run at a world championship around Manny Machado.
Yeah, definitely. I think Manny Machado, is a tougher one to judge than Bryce Harper, obviously. I think either, the Padres or the White Sox, he's definitely, if he goes, he's going to be that star player. And like Jackson said, they're going to try to build around him. Like Connor said, if he goes to the Padres, he can be that guy and like really try to be the star for him. Yeah, I think if the Phillies don't get Harper, I wouldn't be surprised if Machado goes there. But I have, like Jackson said, been hearing some stuff about, him and the White Sox. So honestly, I'd probably have to go with the White Sox. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like Connor. I don't know how I feel about Manny Machado. Like, I know Connor doesn't like him because obviously, World Series. But anyway, I'm not a huge fan of Manny Machado, but yeah. So I'll say White Sox.
Just to clarify, I don't hate Manny Machado because of the World Series. I hate him because he ruins careers and plays dirty. He ruined Dustin Pedroia's career. I mean, last year in the playoffs, I don't remember whose ankle it was, but at first base, just tried to break whoever the first baseman was ankle. But I think that's the big name free agents. But I think one interesting name that's left is Craig Kimbrell. And Craig Kimbrell is a guy that sucked in the playoffs this past year. Absolutely horrible for the Red Sox. And the Red Sox have already kind of addressed that closing pitcher need. But I think Craig Kimbrell is really interesting because he's going to demand a lot of money, obviously, because of his name and what he's done in the past. But I really think he's starting to fall off, and he's not going to be able to perform. So I think, what do you guys think about if say the Padres or the White Sox got Machado and Craig Kimbrell, have a good arm coming out of the bullpen to add to that team along with Manny Machado? I think that can make it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, definitely both of those can make it interesting. I'm going to say this for my dog, Jay Peck, that we have in the call right now. I want Manny Machado. I want Craig Kimbrell to go back to the Atlanta Braves. Jackson, take it away.
Yeah, you took it right out of my mouth there. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think Craig Kimbrell is gonna make a return back to the A. Brian McCann already signed with the Braves. He took less money than other teams because he wanted to be back in Atlanta with his family and, just be back with the Braves. And, I mean, Craig Kimbrell, how old is he? About like 30? Was with the Braves. His rookie season and his 21 games that he pitched, he had a .44 ERA. Granted, only a couple saves. But, I mean, and then the next year is 2.10 ERA. Next year, 1.01 ERA. Next year, 1.21. Next year, you get it. Buddy was an absolute animal with the Braves. And as I was saying in a previous video, pitchers definitely get a lot better coming from the American League to the National League. So Craig Kimbrell comes from the Boston Red Sox, who they have to play the New York Yankees year in and year out. And I just think the Braves will be a great fit for him because I know he wants to come back home to the boys. And I think that he will definitely make the Braves bullpen definitely needs a strong closer. And I think that's like the only piece left the Braves need, that and another good starting pitcher I think if the Braves get Craig Kimbrell, then they can definitely make a run because Braves definitely need a guy like Craig Kimbrell. And I think Craig Kimbrell knows that. So my prediction right here, Craig Kimbrell going to the Atlanta Braves.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for our MLB free agency talk. And make sure you guys check out Jackson's YouTube channel. I'll once again leave a link to it in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what other types of videos you want to see. And we will see you. Peace.